Hi Ruth Andrea, we wanted to surprise you. So Audra, Bethany and I are out here on Monday and we're videoing him because I wanted you to have this before your big day on Wednesday. And I thought I'd just talk you through what we're working on and what we talked about on the telephone. And he's just got out here, so I'm starting you from the beginning. I'm probably going to break it into 2 different shots for you and give you just a little insight and stuff to think about while you're healing and stuff. So one thing we talked about is how the connection's going, and I feel like I have to be real careful here when I'm riding him, that I get him to flex down but not load onto his shoulders. And that's got to be one of the #1 things I see on these Iberian horses, is that they want to go a little too much into their chest and into their shoulders, and that's the factor that makes him lock his jaw. So when he feels heavy in the bridle on me, then he's probably bracing into his shoulders and not sitting enough. So right now what I'm doing, even as I walk around, I'm just flexing a little bit and then giving the rein really big and then changing my bend here. I'm going to push his left shoulder into the corner of the box over here on the left side, and he's going to go against me, and I'm just going to keep pressing him sideways and shorten up my reins a little, but pressing him a little sideways and half halting. There's a half halt, there's a half halt, then I can give, yep, and then I can give, and I'm just looking for a place where I can move his neck around a little and give, like that's really nice. And elasticize his neck a bit, and then try to steady his walk, which right now is like hit and miss, like now he's stalling and starting again. So when he starts to get a little bit inconsistent in his miles per hour, I may again send him a little sideways so that I don't shove him on his chest, but I make his hind end step up. So here he feels a little better, and then there he moves up. So I gave him a little nudge and a little kick, and then I'm sending him on again, stretching him into the connection. Now I'm going to push him a little sideways, and stretch him into the connection. And as I do that, it gives me an opportunity to really give on the inside rein. So he's actually carrying himself, and I'm not blocking him into my hands. And one of the things that I think makes him very nervous is when we do stuff that blocks him into the contact. It's one thing if he's reaching into the contact and he's elastic. It's another thing if he's pulling down on me and then I'm holding the reins and then I'm kicking at him. So here I'm just trotting off a bit, doing the same game, putting him into the outside rein, a little give, half halt again. Now the tempo's too quick, and I'm aware of that. So what I'm going to do is try to steady it back. Not, you know, he had a Sunday off, so and so he's fresh, I'm sure, but a good fresh. Now I'm going to push him a little sideways and slowly, and when he grabs, he's grabbing, so I'm shortening my rein, and I'm really pressing him a little sideways with a bigger flex and give. Like, no, I'm not going to sit here and hold on to you when you decide to kind of lock down on me. So now I'm going to move a little bit more around the arena. When I give that inside rein, I'm very steady with my outside hand, and I'm not pulling, but I'm also keeping a feel. So I'm taking a little on the inside, creating a little bit of left flexion, and then giving. I'm supporting that with my left leg, and I feel a definite diagonal connection from my left leg to my right rein. I'm turning here, just working on getting that balance. And the whole time I ride here, I'm feeling the connection from my left leg to my right rein. And also, you look at my pelvis, if you can see it, as I turn. My left hip is almost a little forward. It's not twisting on the turn. It's actually, I'll put it where it should be. And then a lot of riders get here, and that's the wrong thing, because then they fall on that shoulder. So when I put my left hip bone a little bit towards my outside rein, helps me to set up getting that good connection in the outside, which helps me set up getting an inside rein that I can give on. And that helps me start to develop a little bit of self-carriage, that I'm not just hanging on it. And then when I pick up a more steady inside rein, I try to do it in an elastic way where it's light, but I have a feel. Now I'm rotating my hip the other direction. So now my right hip is a little more forward than my left. I'm flexing a little on the right rein. I'm also going to ask him to step under a little. And I'm pretty anticipatory that he's going to try to quicken and rush, so you can see those little half halts starting to just bend the neck a little. I have a little shoulder for it. I'll do that again on this side. My goal is, over the next few weeks, is that I can get his connection in this snaffle less stiff and more elastic. I feel like he just sits in the bridle too much. So when he gives me that stiffness, I push him that little, but you can see a little bit of that sideways thing happening, giving and taking on the inside rein. Now the interesting piece is that my left hand stays real consistent. Now I'm going to actually put his chest straight, and I'm going to overbend his neck a little to the inside because I feel like he just wants to lock on that rein too much. There we go, good boy. And he doesn't have to be perfect, he just has to give a little. So here, and then I give. Good boy. Here, and then I give again. Now I'm going to take that left shoulder and stick it into the corner of the box on the left side. So if I visualize myself riding in a rectangle, I'm going to feel like when I bend his neck in, you'll see it on this side, that I actually can use my hip and my leg to keep his chest very straight. Good boy. And then I can give. After I do a little flex, I flex and I give. Good boy. Keep coming around. Now I'm riding a little straighter. See if I can get a little lighter. Good. Now I'm going to try a leg yield all the way across. This I'm going to keep him pretty straight. You're going to see a give and take on the inside rein. Do lots of, in the end, down the road, when I can get him less lurchy in the bridle, which means that he's hanging in the bridle too much, then what I can do is I can keep the contact steady. But right now I feel like when I keep the contact steady, he just leans into my hands. So that's why I'm doing so much give and take. Now here he got much stiffer on this right rein. So what I'm going to do is work his hind legs and not worry that his head doesn't look pretty right there. And I'm going to say, you know what, the priority here is that you cross your legs and you step across. Then I can give the rein, see, and then I can work on the neck. So you can see that that time he was a lot less against me than the first time. Now I'm using my seat and my abs to help slow him down so he doesn't scurry away from the connection. Now I'm going to make a walk transition because this has been my battle with him. If I ride him, if you got a video after I'd ridden him for 3 days in a row, then you see, oh, I could hide all this. Could make it look a lot easier, like it'll be easier tomorrow than today. But this is important for you to understand the progression of where the training's going and what we have to fix, so that when you see him going light and nice when you get here, you'll know that I went through stages to get there. What he has to understand is that when he puts his head down and soften into the bridle, that he does not bear into the bridle, put weight into his shoulders, which is part of the quick step problem. He puts weight into his shoulders, he leans into the bridle, and he walks bigger. And that is the trouble spot right there. He has to do this in a way that the neck and the shoulders become more independent. Right now, the lower his head goes, the more in the shoulders he goes. So I can't, if I stretch him down too much, he just goes right on the forehand. So I'm working on trying to get him to get that feeling of connecting and lowering and loosening his neck. Yep. Loosening his neck where I give and he stretches his neck down, but he doesn't roll heavy into my hands. And he gets good moments and bad moments. Some of that was good after he took his little break there. Now I'll do a little sitting. This feels good. It's quite good here. This is good. And then I'm flexing and then able to give, able to balance him on my seat. It's a nice half halt. Now I'm going to do a little shoulder in on this side with the same concept that he's, like I can sit here and look at this. I can make it look nice and steady. Do you see that? But he's too heavy in my hands. That's not correct. So I'm going to actually pick on him and say that you cannot, when your mother starts riding, you can't be that heavy. Sorry. He goes, what? Aren't you going to carry my head? Anyway, so that's why it looks a little erratic right now. Good boy. I'll go do that again. If I had to show him and make this look easy, I just have to bear the weight, then try to half palm balance it the best I could. But that only works so long. Good boy. And notice that when he started to stretch there, what you'll see on the video is that I gave because he offered to stretch. So I said, okay. And as soon as I gave the rein right there after S, he pulled his head down and ran faster. So that running faster shows you the part I'm telling you he doesn't want to stay on his hind legs. He wants to go on his forehand. So he should, when I give the reins, stay in the same tempo and the same cadence and the same balance that he was in. And that's number one. That is the number one thing I have to get. That was a really nice release. Good sneeze. Love the sneezing. Good boy. And I'll try a little shoulder in here. Good boy. And I like this because he's not rushing. Throw a little circle in. Good boy. Now he's rushing again. Tempo's a little too quick. So I'm going to just kind of tap his hind end. He's going to lose his head a little. I'm going to say, you know what, Bono, you have to, yes, good boy. You have to be a little better in your hind leg. Yep, and that's my butt in the saddle, my quads on, little give and take in the rein. Saying I'd really appreciate it if you bent your hocks and stifles, loaded a little more weight towards your hind legs. Good boy. That feels better. Good bit. Now I'm going to use